everyone, I'm Chris.
I'm Travis.
We're here from England, Oregon. Going to talk to you a little bit about Pro Trolls and the Brad's Super Bait. We had some good success with it this last year and just wanted to kind of touch base and kind of show how we were running them down here below McNary in the fall fishery.
Yeah, I was going to say that over in Eastern Oregon, we really, below McNary, targeted the fish with these and did very well last year. So I know there's not a lot of people out there that do it, so we thought we'd put the video together, and Chris is going to show you how we rigged everything up and was successful.
What we typically do, now there's two different ones that you can run. There's some people that like a 24-inch pre-leader going to, and this is very critical. This isn't like your regular triangle flasher, rotating flasher. The pre-leader basically at that point just dictates the weight, your dropper length, and how far you want it bounced off bottom. This is a little bit different type of fishery. These type of things you don't necessarily run right on the bottom. Now you can, however, we found better success to have them suspended, approximately 8 to 12 foot off bottom, even if that's in 25 foot of water. So with that being said, this last year what we did is we ran 24-inch. This is 36 because 36 is also a good number for the Pro Trolls. And this is why it's critical on these. This is a 36-inch pre-leader. Once again, this is stuff that we make here. This is a 200-pound test monofilament, double crimped on either end. And each one of ours is marked with a color-coded bead for it, the wider 36 inches in length. What this does, and why this is so critical, is essentially, and I'll tie it up here in just a second, but this is what's going to allow, if you've never actually fished these things, this is what's actually going to allow the rotation of this flasher to spin. Okay, they'll actually do their thing, and if you have a 36-inch bumper, it actually allows it to go spin out a little bit more. The shorter you make it, the less, because this will actually run through the water at an angle about like so. That actually imparts action on your bait versus your typical triangle flasher. The reason, it's very specific on what we run in the links on the pre-leader too, and also from the rotation flasher, the 360 flasher, to our actual bait. Let me tie this up here real quick. This is just going to indicate my main line, and this is going to be the same type of scenario that you would have for your regular triangle flasher. And if you looked at the video that I did here the other day on the standard rig that we typically fish for springers all the way down to buoy 10, you'll see this main line is basically going to be the same. And I cannot get this. There we go. And one thing I didn't touch on the other day, and I caught it after the fact, is these beads serve a couple purposes. So I like to put a couple of the beads on that actually will run down and protect my knot. And then I also will run a couple beads above it. And the reason you want that, now maybe if you're just fishing your own rod, then that's fine, but if you got, inexperienced guys in the boat, well, even experienced guys in the boat, they'll do the same thing. You're going to have a relatively lengthy, from your weight all the way up to what's going to end up being your brads or your herring or whatever you're going to run behind it. And what this does is this will actually, the top beads protect the tip eye of your pole. So you get excited and over reel and pull it right up to the tip, those beads will save that rather than sucking in the swivels and everything else and causing you grief. So I'll do some photos of this up close like I did on the other videos, and you can kind of see, but it's the same. The only difference with this on the typical Pro Troll is I will hook my weight directly onto my main line. And once again, we're fishing suspended. If I want to fish anywhere near the bottom, I'm always going to run, even if it's just 3-4 inches, I'm going to run a breakaway to pop that off there in case I get tangled up on the bottom.
And I'll tell you why, because it never fails, especially buoy 10 when it's very choppy out or anywhere that we fished. I can tell you how many times last year or the year before that those droppers, you go for a fish, it dives, you catch the dropper in the net, that dropper, if you're using 12 to 20 pound, it's going to snap, and you're still going to keep that fish. And we had that happen a couple times last year where we went for a fish. I was netting. I went for a fish. Got the dropper caught in the net, and it just broke right off. You lose the weight, but you still get the fish.
And a couple times too, we'd actually you can just grab the weight,
Yeah.
break it loose in
Grab
your
it,
hand, drop it in the boat, and
drop it
good
in
to
the
go.
boat, and you're good.
So now we have the weight here. Our bumper is going to run back to our flasher, and this is some of the original brads.
As you can tell, he's got the Eaton fish board. These things are
Yeah,
absolutely essential if you're tying up before you go out.
one thing I found, just a little tech tip on these, is when I first started using them, I used to use like the round boards, but everything comes off coiled, and I wasn't a huge fan in the beginning because see how this is kind of kinked up from where it's sitting. But the beauty about, once again, this is Seaguar and this is the fluorocarbon. All you got to do is just take and just give it a nice steady couple straight pulls like that, and look at that. Nice and straight. You don't have no coils in it. It's not kinked up, and it's good and ready to go.
And the other thing is when you're doing that with you're tying a mooching rig. A lot of times if it's coiled up like that, when you go to sink that line, pull that line through, if you just give it a few little tugs before you tie up your mooching rig, it'll straighten out, and you won't get kinks, and your knots will be better. And it's a heck of a lot easier to do it if it's not coiled up.
Yeah, exactly. What this setup here is something that I kind of came up with. I mean, I'm not going to take credit for it because I'm sure everything we do here, we basically collect ideas from others, maybe tweak them to modify it to our needs. I was worried in the beginning. We originally would run, and I'll take some photos of this up close as well so you can see it. On the brads, I was worried about putting too much weight as a hook into the bait itself and would actually stifle the action. And what I found is I run a bead chain, and this is, for me, it's a time saver because I've seen a lot of guys, they'll run it through and they'll do a 2-hook rig similar to a mooching rig with like a 2-finger gap, and I did that for a while. Problem with that is you catch a fish on it, those teeth mar that line up. So I don't know that I'd continually fish that same line. I've caught multiple fish on the same, and it's nice because with that bead chain there, that fish grabs. Generally what happens is that bead chain is what rubs back and forth on those teeth, and it'll save your leader. I mean, definitely check to make sure there's no nicks or anything in it, but just having that right there on the tail end of it, and it does not, once again, the video, if you go to our Facebook page and take a look, you'll see one of these rolling behind it, and it has fantastic action. And I just do several beads on the back. These are UV beads. I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
Well, one thing, Chris, is like you were talking about running this 6 bead chain right here. One of the things, what he's talking about is like if you ever had to retie one of these and you're in the boat, when you get on fish and the bite's on, and a lot of you know this when you're out there fishing, you got a bite that comes on, you got 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. You don't want to spend 10 or 15 minutes retying this. You hook a fish, you bring it in, you pull this out, you make sure that it's not marred or frayed, and this bead chain right here saves that. And so it's saving you time, you're getting back on the fish, you're getting quicker in there, and you put a little Chris cocktail in here, and you're gonna be catching fish.
That'll be another video what we actually put in it. And Shane Magnuson hooked me up with some of his formulas. Good stuff. Anyway, let's get back to what we were. And another beautiful thing about doing this is I have a nice high quality split ring here on the back. If I remember right, these were actually, they're tough to come by in the town that we're from. There's not a lot of them, but the brads actually makes a very nice split ring to go on there. Otherwise, they're very lightweight gauge, and you can actually separate them. But another thing about it is, like I say, if you end up damaging the hook, rather than with the other rig, it's very similar to what a plug would be, is you could just take your split ring and run that hook off there and then put another one back on and you're back fishing.
Minutes.
So, anyway, and I am an advocate, as you can see, and I may be a little OCD as far as my organization goes, but I have at least 2 of everything. At least 2 of everything. And the reason for that is, I mean, how many times have you gone out? I mean, I know I've done it. I gone out, this is the hot ticket for the day, and you end up snagging up within 15 minutes and lose the damn thing.
Or you go out and the people you go with are like, well, I knew you had one, so I didn't bring it.
Exactly. They're using something that they got from somebody or whatever, you know. That was the only one
I've never done that, believe me, I've never done it.
or it's the only one that's on the shelf when they go to the store, and there's a reason why there was a full rack of them and everything else is sold out, right?
Well, what first thing comes to my mind is a couple of years ago, the Bowie 10, Old Reliable, right here. Old Reliable was the hot ticket on our boat. We were catching probably 90% of our fish with this.
Oh, easy.
And I had one and Chris had like 3. So it was great. And nobody else had one. We showed up, everybody put them on, we were just nailing the fish. So
yeah, it's always good to have them. But these fishing boards, there's no reason not to. Each one of these boards, and we sell these are great things to have. The large holds 17. I mean, even if you're just a small time wanting to get into the brads, I mean, the 17's a lot. You know, if you just double, you know, get a couple of each ones. And we'll talk about on some of the other stuff if people are interested using, you know, which ones are the ones that we really like to use the most.
And really, all of those in your tackle box or all of those in this box. I mean, look at how much space you're saving right here with these Ing products that we sell. It speaks for itself. If you're ever in a boat, I mean, organization or space is limited. So you have this or a tackle box full of those that you have to drag out and untie, and it's just a huge space saver.
All right, so what I do now is just essentially hook this back one right to the back. I want to say these are a 36. If I remember correctly, lay that out on the table. Run the swivel right down to the end of the table. It should come out right here. So I just wanted to remember. I want to say these were 36 inches in length, the leader. Yep, 36 inches. So that's what I was running last year. Now we're showing for purposes here a 36-inch pre-leader, but I was running a 24-36 and had a great action. Now what would end up happening with this longer pre-leader is that action is going to make a bigger swath. And what happens in the action that this thing imparts is it's constantly rotating like this. So this is actually dodging and cutting back and forth back here behind it. It's just not doing what a typical triangle flasher would do, where everything's in line and just, you know, kind of a corkscrew through the water. This is actually creating more action. And as Travis said earlier, the last thing to top it off is running what we typically run. We'll run tuna in here with Northwest Baits and Scents concoction that we put in. And you guys could look up his videos online. Shane's got some good instructional videos online as far as what he uses, and it works. I mean, it's there, and it's a great product. One other thing that I found too on the weight that we run on these things, I try to stay 16 ounces on them all. It's not like running the triangle style flashers. Where you know typically be like the front of your boat, you're running 16 towards the back, it gets lighter and it spreads it out. These are a little bit more because you're zone fishing rather than hitting it off the bottom and just reeling up. I mean, because it's easy to find on it with an 8-ounce lead, a 10-ounce lead, 12 or 16, depending on, you know, to spread that out in the boat. You know, bounce it back, you know, just till you tick bottom when you know you got an 18-inch, 20-inch dropper, yeah. And then you just reel it up a crank and you're fishing, or you just even are reading braille with the others. This, you know, you one up off the bottom and you're zone fishing, and it's harder to do that with variable weights. So my thing is, just for simplicity's sake, is, you know, 16 across the board. If I'm getting bid at 25 foot, everybody's going 25 foot. And we try to vary.
27 or 23. You know, it's like if you're fishing suspended, commonly above McNary, we go out and we're pulling. We'll pull these all day long, and we're generally successful. When we don't see a lot of nets flying, we're generally being successful with what we're putting out, and that's why we're bringing this to you, is so that, you know, the guys and gals that are out there watching these videos, we're going to bring to you what we're doing. We want everybody to know what what works for us and why we're doing it and how we're doing it. And we're also bringing you the products so that you can get out there and you can get in your own boat and you can be successful. Chris is our Pro Troll guy. We get on the water. We listen to him because he knows what he's talking about. He's been fishing these for a long time, and we do a really good job. We get out there and we're successful with it.
So I mean that pretty much sums it up. You know, it's fairly simple.
Get out and fish.
But the thing is, what you got to really pay attention to, and what you're going to want to mess with a little bit, is it's a lot less, or I should say, a lot more critical than your links on the 360 flashers versus the rotation flashers. Rotation flashers do nothing more than put out that flash, that strobe of light, and attract it that way. This puts out the light, but it also imparts action, and that action can vary. If you're a kokanee guy, you know what I'm talking about. You're going to run a longer pre-leader, and then you're going to run, I mean, you guys are running, what, 8, 12, 16 inch between you know,
your flasher and your
yeah,
and your
I mean,
hooks.
and why is that? Because you're, you know, if you're using just a Dodger side to side, you know, like a sling
Throwing
blades
that
or
bait
something.
away around.
Yeah, I mean, it's that as that thing's rolling, it's ducking back and forth and creating that action. Same thing here. And we'll cover, you know, hopefully here this spring we'll get out and we'll talk about speed. And these are, once again, everything we do is critical. Obviously, the slowest that you can go and still maintain an action on your lure, you're going to catch more fish.
Right.
I mean, that's just a proven fact. But these are an actual, they'll let you know through English on the end of your pole versus these if you're going the right speed.
Right.
And
that 1,000,
exactly.
2 1,000, 3 1,000.
Exactly.
And the poles that we use, I mean, you can use anywhere from 9 foot to 10.5 to whatever pole you got and you're using, you're still going to have that action, that 1 1,000, 2 1,000 tick on the end of your line, and that will let you know if you're in the targeted range and if these are working correctly for you.
Yeah.
And if you don't see that, or if your pole's just, you know, with this Pro Troll, if you're not seeing that 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000 pole on your line, adjust it because you're not doing something right and it's not working for you, it's working against you.
Yeah. And it's, in my own honest opinion, this is probably some of the easiest fishing that there is.
Oh, yeah. It's
I mean,
great.
because these are hard to tell. I mean, you're going speed over ground. You know, you're typically trolling with the current, unless you get down, say, buoy 10 area where you're, you know, maybe holding in the current. But these will talk to you, like I say, they let you know your speed, and then highly recommend. I mean, I don't have a fishing pole that I use for salmon or steelhead that doesn't have a line counter on it.
Right. Well, yeah. Especially if you're in the boat, I think the only separation we have is we have certain rods that we use from the bank that don't have line counters, and then we have rods that we use that are in the boat that all of them have line counters because we want to know right where we're at. We don't want to do the old pull and try to guess. It's helpful if you know, and like Chris said earlier, if he's at 25 feet and I'm at 35 feet and he's getting hit, I'm moving my stuff to 27 or I'm going to move it to 23. I'm not going to go probably the same exact depth as him. I'm going to be real close to it though because I'm going to put myself in that range where they're at.
Exactly.
One of the other things is you know, we offer these packets that come with the bumpers that we call bumpers. These bumpers, these 200-pound monofilament bumpers. We also offer the BYO flashers, and we tie up with Seagar, 40-pound monofilament, and we'll tie up mooching rigs. We put it all together. That's for the beginner to the guy who's always got friends that show up that never have anything, and you know who you are if you're out there and you're running your boat and you don't have time to stop fishing.
Why do you think we came up with the idea?
You don't have time to stop fishing to go over and tie somebody up that doesn't necessarily go fishing very often, that doesn't have $3,000 worth of fishing gear in their tackle box. You know, you can take one of these bags out of your, right there, set on the side of your boat, throw it to them, say, there you go, put it all together. It's all right there for you. When you let me, you know, and get them right back in the water so that everybody's fishing.
Well, you know, that was created out of necessity.
Yeah, because
from how many times do we have folks come with us that, you know, they want to get out and fish, but they don't fish a lot, and they're like, what do I need? and you try to, well, you need to get this hook, and you get this is why, I mean, it's so simple now. You just say, hey, get on there, you can buy 1 pack or a 2 pack, whatever, if you want to, you know.
This is going to save me this year when we go to Bowie 10, because we always have friends and family that show up that necessarily aren't everyday fishermen. They don't
No.
fish, they don't follow the fish, they don't go out, they don't have a lot of time.
Well, they want to buy their own gear, they don't want to mooch.
Right, they want to
but-
buy their own stuff, so now
But
we
they
can
want
say,
something good quality too.
right here, and when they tangle up, or when they break off, or seal gets their stuff, or whatever, they can reel in within 5 minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes. They can be back on water fishing,
Yeah.
and that's what's important to us. That's what saves us headaches, and it also gets everybody fishing on the boat. And we're all out there to have a good time.
Oh yeah, and this
Time savers.
as you can see, everything that we do, and this isn't, like I said, this isn't our idea. It's just something that, I mean, it's fishermen in general. Like Travis was saying earlier, when the bite's on, the bite's on. If it could be a 5-minute bite, it could be an hour and a half bite. You just don't know. The last thing you want to do is get the net, get the fish in the boat, everybody high five and dance for 30 minutes while there's fish being caught. Well, let's get this stuff back out in the water. Let's get fishing. And everything that we try to do is there to save time. And it's also there to help the novice. I'll tell you right now, everything that we have flasher wise is proven to work. It doesn't. There's not a bad color combination. So you can go on there and you send a new guy to our site. He can come in and pick up, just pick 2 colors that he likes, and it's going to work. And we're all fond of, like Travis said, there's a reason it's called Old Reliable.
Old Reliable.
I mean, the thing is money.
It's our go-to. That's what we start every season right there.
Well, look at our Bowie 10 video.
Yeah, look at our Bowie 10 video. Look at, every year, first thing I'm putting on is this one right here. One thing, if you have any questions or concerns, go to our page, go to our website, get on there. There's a place for you to ask questions, or if you have helpful tips, or if you see something that we're doing that you've done something different and it's worked for you, let us know. Get a hold of us. Get a hold of us. We will get back to you. One of us will get back to you within a timely manner. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully if you guys have any questions, hopefully that sums it all up. Like I say, it's a pretty simple, in my opinion, this is the easiest fishing that there is. Just for the simple fact that you're not having to worry about bottom, you're not, and the speed is self-correcting if you watch what you're doing and you know what to look for. And then the only thing that you need to do is just tweak your distances. And with that being said, I think, there's a reason why we do 3 sizes in the pre-leader. There's it's 18, 24, and 36. There's a reason why. And even if like I told you in the other, if I could fish 18 all the time, I would, because I like the shorter lengths for, being able to control, get them up to the boat. Because the longer you got everything out there, the harder it is to control.
But with this, you're going to need that 36.
This you can't do that.
You can't do
that. 36 and 24 is where you want to be, and then you also mess with your distances between the Pro Trolls and the Brads themselves. And I think you'll find that it fishes well. So, with that being said, thanks again. I'm Chris.
This is Travis.
England, Oregon.
Let's fish.